It's Saturday night. That means it's time for the Don Tony Show.
The wait all week long is finally over. Get Don Tony's perspective on current affairs in the world of pro wrestling and much more. The Don Tony Show.
And now your host, the man, the legend, Don Tony.
So how's your weekend going, everybody? Here in New York, it is raining about 45 degrees. It was supposed to be May. Tomorrow's Mother's Day, and again, to all of you out there, to your moms, whether they are here physically still on this earth or if they are looking down on you, I wish everybody a very happy Mother's Day. I will be spending Mother's Day with my mom. Never take for granted, especially that precious time you have your family. You never know when that's taken away. Interesting show planned for tonight. A little disclaimer, because when things out of the ordinary happen, I do get an influx of viewers that don't normally go to my channel. And I want to just throw this out there right at the beginning. See this? This is all my handwritten notes for the night. I usually talk from based on here and on here. I don't get paid to be the uber professional, dot the I's and cross the T's. I think my brain is developed enough that if I pull research and request reports and get information, I don't need to have to look at a piece of paper and to be reminded about specifics. Case in point, the Tammy Sytch accident. You know, I don't need someone to refresh my memory that there were 5 people involved in that accident, 3 in one vehicle and 2 in 2 other vehicles. I don't need to know or be reminded that all 3 vehicles had Geico insurance. I don't need to be reminded that one of the policies, Geico may be trying to deny a claim because of vicarious liability. What is vicarious liability? Mr. James Pente, I hope you Google it because it applies to you, sir. I don't need to go on a jail website, pull something like this, and then breaking news, PW Insider reports that Tammy Sytch has been arrested for 2 felonies and 8 misdemeanors, DUI causing death to a human, driving without a suspect. Yeah, anybody with a fucking pair of eyes could go on the county jail website and read what I'm reading. That is not exclusive breaking. Oh, so-and-so reported. Everybody has access to that shit. It's when you pull reports like this to try to find out who actually owns the vehicle, when you actually get specifics like the lawsuit. You've all read from Observer everywhere else. Oh, they're being sued in excess. What's the magical number that you keep reading everywhere? $30,000. Why? Because they went on a court website and that's all that's given to them. What if I tell you that they're suing in excess of $100,000 minimum, and they want a jury trial to determine the punitive damages for Tammy Sytch being sued for auto negligence and James Pente being sued for vicarious liability? No, I don't have a teleprompter in front of me. I am looking straight at everyone out there, because when you do the research yourself, you actually read it, it kind of stays in your memory. That's the problem with a lot of places online. They don't bother doing the research. They'll just wait for somebody else to post it, and then they'll just copy and paste it, and then they based everything on. Remember back in the day when Jeff Hardy had that vehicle accident where he hit like a median and hit a couple other things? When I was doing a show at that time with Mish, we were reading what everybody else was reporting. And I was like, nah, man, let me get the actual accident report. And once I got the report and we started examining everything, there was a whole totally different scenario that went down. And to this day, a lot of those places never updated their information. Don Tony is not part of the cool kids club out there. And I saw a super chat that came in asking if other places, other outlets have asked Don Tony, yours truly, anybody asked for your information that you pulled? What if I tell you right now, all right, that I have specific information that vehicle was purchased February 15th, Valentine's, the day after Valentine's Day. Was this a Valentine's Day gift from Tammy Sytch to Mr. Pente? Was that the gift? Did she buy the vehicle in Jersey and then have it sent to Florida so it could be registered, titled, and insured under your name a month later, just to have it 10 days after that get totally totaled over $10,000 in damage, causing the vehicle in front of her $10,000 in damage? That's not a vehicle slowing down doing, 25 miles an hour. Bet you didn't hear that information elsewhere. Don't they look like a nice couple? Seriously. You know the dumbest shit that I still keep reading on places? Don Tony is still defending Tammy Sytch. No, it's not about defending or not defending. I try to get the information first. I've been saying for a couple of years now that I am friendly with some of Tammy Sytch's friends, and they care about her. I'm sure a lot of you out there have a close friend, a close relative, maybe a parent. Yeah, I think Lacey Evans from yesterday. That is a total fuck up that has addiction abuse problems. And sometimes, even though they map out tragedy, even though it's avoidable, you still care about the people. So when I pull information, I don't do it because I want to bang Tammy Sytch. I don't have this weird fetish obsession with Tammy Sytch. All my interaction with her for over 20 years has been nothing but nice. So it's a shame to see how someone who has been given, she's had more lives than a cat, and just throw it away. It's tragic. It's sad. It's depressing. It's disappointing. But out of respect to her friends, the girls that are crying, watching her being arraigned in court 2 years ago, watching her being arraigned in court. Why does she keep doing this? Why does she keep getting involved with fuck-ups? Why does this, why? Because I try out of respect to those people that I talk to. Tonight on Twitter, you saw it on full display. And it was revealed what you thought was Tammy Sytch, that yes, I do talk to her friends. I don't lie to all of you out there. I'm too old to lie. Lying sucks because when you lie, then you lie on top of lie on top of lie on top of lie, and it never stops. That's why I get personal enjoyment when I see certain people online that are supposed to be holier than thou, and everybody thinks, oh, what a nice guy or what a nice girl. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait till they get busted in court with some of the shit that they go through. And yeah, it's kind of, ridiculous that, I find enjoyment to it. But there is so much fake and fraud out there. I just don't have the time for it. I'd rather tell you straight up what I know, how I feel, and it's just an opinion. I'm not a reporter. If I want to report, if I want to get news, as you can see, I go out and I grab it. I don't sit back and wait for somebody else and then cut and paste it and trust that what they're giving you is accurate and correct. So everything you've been reading in the last 24 hours is lazy shit. I could give you the links for all the county sites and the jail sites, and you could pull all this information yourself and go on Sportskeeda or Forbes or anything else and write the same shit. Do it enough times, and you'll probably get a blue check mark on Twitter. I'm not into that. I have no interest in that. I always wanted to get facts. I always wanted to get information. And this is why when I get comments like this, look, Tommy, I'm not trying to downplay the fact that you sent me a 50 spot. That is awesome. But Tommy wrote, he said, sad that you get hate by certain podcasters who accuse you of defending her just because you want facts and I don't do trash TV. He does have a legit question. Any news sites contact me about the information I obtained? And the answer is yes. Wrestling news sites? No, not one. Because again, yours truly is not part of the Cool Kids Club. They'd rather just give you false, inaccurate, bullshit information than have, that they have to write, oh, credit Don Tony. Ew. So you keep trusting those people and you ask yourself, why are they not getting this information? They'll wait for TMZ to get it, and then they'll report it. But I did get a couple of non-wrestling sites to contact. And look, we'll put this all together. I'm just wanted to give an opening comment about all of this. We'll put this all together in a minute. But I had a few non-wrestling websites that asked me, hey, could you give me a copy of this? Or where did you get this? Or what's your source? And I told them all the same thing. I said, no, I'm not a rat. I'm not a rat. I do this for everybody who enjoys my shows, who want the truth, that don't want shit TV like, Tommy is explaining. I don't do trash TV. I do this for all of you out there. I don't do this for views. I don't do this for hits to get noticed. None of those sites give a flying fuck about you or I when nothing else is going on. But when, I might have something that might be a major juicy story, can I have it? No, you can't. You can't. As much as this guy James turned into a total douchebag today, because you have no idea about the Twitter war that went down earlier today involving yours truly. And a lot of people still out there think it was Tammy Sytch. We'll talk about that later. But no, at the end of the day, if I'm not a rat, and even if I'm pissed off at someone, I'm still not a rat. So if these people out want to, get the information, do the work and get it yourself. Not interested in giving it away. If someone that I feel is respectful to me wants it, I'll be more than happy to pass it along. But here's the timeline. Here's the timeline, everyone. This is what I have found out, and this kind of piggybacks the last time. You might remember about a week ago, I said, get ready for tropical shitstorm Tammy, because it's about to all go down. A couple of days ago, DT, what do you know? I said, no, I'm not talking about it until it's made public. And it was made public yesterday. Tammy Sytch was arrested and was taken to Indian Creek Jail, I think it might have been, on Friday, charged with nine charges related to this auto accident. One of them was DUI manslaughter for being under the influence and causing an accident that resulted in death to a person. Just so you know, and some of the things might be a little out of place right now, but again, I'm doing this from memory, but I'm going to give you as much information that I have without being a rat and without getting into specifics. That's why when I showed this on Twitter earlier, I put my logo on it because I don't want anybody stealing the shit, but I blur stuff out because some of the information I feel is private. I don't give private information out. I'm not interested in that. She got into this accident. She caused this 2012 Mercedes in excess of $10,000 in damage. The speed limit was 40. The vehicle in front of her was at a stop. She hit that vehicle with such force that the rear end of that vehicle caused about $10,000 to the vehicle in front of her. That vehicle then hit the vehicle in front of that vehicle and caused damage as well. Not enough where the 3 or 4 people that were in the third vehicle, they didn't have to get medical treatment. But that is not someone that is just, slowing down. There was a red light. There was no seizure. Now, I'm going to answer a question that a lot of you have been asking me for weeks, and I have the answer for you. You're asking, why did she not get arrested on the scene? She has all these DUI arrests. We know what happened in Jersey. We know what happened in Pennsylvania. If you remember what I said a couple of weeks ago, I said Florida has to go, any state has to go by the book. They're not going to rush or take shortcuts because it's common sense. Yes, everybody and probably the cops knew that her license was taken away. Just because they read it online, just because it's everywhere, doesn't mean that you just throw her in jail and say, this license no good. You have to go by the book. The cops have to bite their tongue and just wait and And wait, toxicology, getting results of the blood test, yeah, that could probably be done in a couple of days. But as we said, the last day I ever did a show with Mish, he asked me and I gave everybody the answer. It's not an answer that everybody wanted because it was boring. But boring sometimes is true. And the fact is that they had to get the blood results. Once the blood results come back, then it has to go to a court. Then papers have to be filed. Then it's got to go to a district attorney. And then it's got to go here. And it's got to be filed here. And then you got to figure out what the charges are and this and that. And then it's presented. At the time of the car accident, she had a New Jersey driver's license on her. The driver's license had an expiration date of, I believe, 2026. So when the accident happened and the cop pulls the license out of the purse because she is inebriated and she is delirious because she just had a serious accident. Look, everybody knows about my accident in 96 that I still have permanent damage to this day. I don't remember the accident at all. And I read the police report. And when they described how I was acting and everything, like it shakes me. You know, I don't remember any of it. So she was, you know, hit pretty hard with this. That's not sympathy. I'm just giving you facts. So when they looked in the car and found the driver's license, it says Jersey. It says 2026. They take the information. They remember when I told you that Florida doesn't have it linked to Jersey's computers? Hey, let me run this license. Sure, I could run it, get an answer in 5 minutes that the license was revoked. It doesn't work that way in the court system. So that's why she was not arrested right there on the spot. She did not take a sobriety test because she was injured in the accident. She had to be sent to the hospital. So they could not do a sobriety test. They had to take blood, and it had to be requested and solicited. You know, you can't just take blood because you want to. There's certain chains of commands. You take a shortcut, and you pay a good enough lawyer. Trust me, that lawyer will uncover it, and you could get released based on a technicality. Florida, as much as I think that state sucks with their legal system, Florida does not want to make a mistake with this. That's not pro-Florida or anti-Tammy. It's just facts that they wanted to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed before they go ahead and file these charges. So now the blood results come back. She was intoxicated. So now they file 2 felonies and 8 misdemeanors. 7 misdemeanors, I believe it is. And driving under the influence, causing a death. Driving with a revoked or suspended license, that was a felony as well. Now, the DUI death is a felony in the 2nd degree, not the 1st degree. That's why there is a little bit of dispute as far as possible jail time. Now, a lot of you are saying, DT, why did I write earlier that she could face up to life in jail? See, you go to wrestling websites, when they stick to wrestling, they're usually spot on. When you try to go into other fields, you unfortunately have to spend extra time to get the answers, and they don't do that. They go on this website like I am showing you here. If you look to the left where it says statute, they copy the number, they put a Google search in, and whatever the legal website says, they add up all the possible jail time, and somebody comes up with up to 30 years in jail with a minimum of 4. And that's because somebody just did Google searches and looked up statutes. What they didn't do was they didn't take into account Jersey and Pennsylvania just doesn't go away, boys and girls. She has charges still pending in those states. Jason Solomonster was probably the most educated person today that I read that wrote anything. And he said she still had stuff pending in other states. Bingo. So when you realize that some of her release was conditional, stay out of trouble. Don't fucking drink. Don't get behind the wheel. She doesn't have a license. So now what happens? Uh-oh, I screwed up. but it happened in Florida, so it doesn't affect Pennsylvania and Jersey. That's the naive and, ignorance of a lot of these sites that you're referencing. So when you add up Florida, where she could face up to 30 years, she's going to be 50 years old. You add up that she could face 30 years, and then you realize what could happen in Jersey and what could happen in Pennsylvania, she could end up spending the rest of her life in jail. That's why I always wrote could. Understand the definition of the word could. Could spend life in jail. Do I think she's going to spend 40 years in jail, 30 years in jail? No, I don't think so. But she is going to have some serious jail time if convicted. And that doesn't mean that I'm celebrating what happened. Doesn't mean that I'm pro or anti this or anything. I'm just giving you facts. I will give you my opinion after I give you all the facts. But this is what she's facing. Now, $275,000 around that bond. That's what it was set. The big part of that bond amount was the DUI causing a death. That bond was set at $200,000. Now, I've given this lesson to many times over the years, but there's still quite a few of you out there that still do not know this. I'm in the insurance field since 1998. I sell bonds. I have sold surety bonds. And when you have to post bond in a criminal case and you have $275,000 in bonds, you don't put up $275,000 to the court. You purchase a bond. And the bond is usually 10% of whatever the bond amount is from the court. What does that mean? The court posted that she could be released on $275,000 bond. Okay, that would cost her about $28,000 in cash. She would have to pay $28,000, including fees, and then she buys the bond. Now, when you get a bond, you have to show that you have assets, that you have collateral that makes up $275,000. Just see, me in the insurance business, bonds that I usually issue, I'll give you a good example. Construction company is going to do work on somebody's house, and they're going to do $100,000 in work. They will buy $100,000 surety bond because they're giving surety, they're giving confidence to the house that if the contracting company doesn't do the job, screws up the job, gets out of town, and that house is left with damage or the repair's not done, that they have some type of guarantee. It's a guarantee that if this is not done, they get the money somewhere else. So if Tammy Sytch gets up and goes to Mexico or any country that, she can disappear, she loses those assets. That's why when some people can't post bond or can't post bail, they're not out of jail. Now, you think about this. Tammy Sytch was in jail in Pennsylvania and Jersey, and some of it for long periods of time. If you think about before even her court was resolved, she was in jail all those times. Now, you say to yourself, why didn't Tammy bail herself out of jail in some of those cases? But here, she puts out $28,000 in cash or credit or whatever else and puts up collateral to get herself out of jail right now. That's the interesting part about it. And I know, I originally wrote this and then I deleted it because I don't even want to be in bad taste about it. But yeah, a lot of that money that we said 2 weeks ago, she's doing all his OnlyFans stuff. Yeah, that money, she's trying to probably gather as much money as possible. OnlyFans probably paid a good portion of that bond. No joke. So she is out on bond. Look, I don't dislike Tammy. Right? It's disappointing and it's sad to see somebody have so many chances and get away with it. And just as a human being, you feel pity for people out there, but she killed somebody. If it was just an accident, accidents happen. And yes, dirtbags can be behind the wheel, get into an accident, and it's a legitimate accident. Shit happens. But once this came, and I'm not saying she's a dirtbag or not, that's up to you. But when this came back, that she was drunk after opportunity and after opportunity after opportunity, going to jail in Jersey, going to jail in Pennsylvania, getting out of jail, going back in jail, getting arrested, getting back out, drinking, yes, it's an addiction, but she is dangerous. She just killed someone. I was reading today that a Florida judge, I don't know if you saw that story about a woman who killed her husband, buried him in the yard, and they found the husband, and the judge granted her bail at like $200,000 or something. She killed her husband. I mean, obviously you're innocent until proven guilty, but she was buried in the yard. The wife remarried. They found the husband and they said it $200,000. It's ridiculous that people who you see are dangerous. Do I think Tammy intentionally tried to kill someone that day? No. That's why it's second degree, not first degree. But the fact of the matter is, after all of these chances that Florida gave her bond, $28,000. I mean, if I apply for enough credit cards, I probably could pull up $28,000, to buy a bond also. That is, to me, nothing personal, Miss Sytch, but, that's crazy. And now we go to Mr. Pente. And I'm going to give you some info now that you're not going to read anywhere else. Ultimately, they may get the information, okay? Let me tell you a little bit about the vehicle itself. And you know me, everybody. I've been doing this since 97. I have used a hashtag since 1997, before there were hashtags. I don't want to be first. I want to be right. And as long as I ever do anything here for all of you, I will always live by that. Believe me when I tell you, everything that I tell you tonight, not one iota of it is incorrect. This guy, James Pente, I've had a lot of people that are close with Tammy tell me a lot of things about this guy. He's got a long criminal history online. I'm not going to say what it is. You always hope that people do, straighten themselves out. And I almost want to wash my mouth out. I almost want to break my fingers right now for being so stupid earlier. Because when I posted that I had some specific information about the vehicle, I got a DM, and I'll tell you what that information is in a moment. I got a DM this morning from someone who was close friends with Mr. Pente, Tammy's boyfriend. And this person said, James would like to talk to you. I turned around and told that person, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. Because the information I uncovered is serious shit. And I'm in the insurance business since 1998. And when vicarious liability starts getting thrown around, especially if Geico decides, we're not going to, we're going to withdraw our responsibility in this crash. Understand, I want to make this clear in case people don't, want to put two and two together or refuse to report it because I'm the one that got the information. The family of this man who died in this accident are suing Tammy Sytch and James Pente. They are co-defendants in this suit. It's not Tammy up here and James down here. They are co-defendants. Whatever is awarded, they're going to be equally responsible. Now, the lawsuit documents, not the stuff that people, the $30,000 stuff that you're reading everywhere else. I got the actual documents. And Tammy is being sued for auto negligence. And James Pente is being sued for vicarious liability. What does that mean? Okay. You own a bar. You got somebody pissed drunk inside the bar. They have car keys there. you know that that person has been drinking too much, and you continue serving them alcohol, and then they leave, get behind the vehicle, behind the car, and kill somebody. The people who that person killed could sue the bar because they knowingly provided alcohol after somebody was visually impaired to the point where they couldn't drink. They shouldn't be drinking. All right, you can't. Now look, could the bar take your keys and throw it away so you're not driving? No. But that's why a bar, when you go to it, you have to be very careful. You have to be very observant of the people that are there. You know, when you get a girl, it's like, woohoo, and start lifting her chest and this and that, and it's just wildly intoxicated. You know, you got to be like, all right, that's it. No more alcohol. You know, that's an example of vicarious liability. All right. If you go and look at my tweets, I never once accused James Pente of intentionally committing vicarious liability. That's not me to decide. That's the court to decide. But let me tell you what went down that no one has told you. Tammy Sytch has no license. Just because you got a piece of plastic that was valid, you know, before it was taken away. You know, she's got no license. That's one of the felony charges against her. February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, that Mercedes was bought from a dealer that was located in Jersey. Now, the vehicle could have been in Florida, but the dealer was located in New Jersey, the same state that Tammy Sytch lives in, had the license, everything else. That vehicle then was sent to Florida somewhere around March 14th. March 14th, that vehicle was titled, registered, and insured with Geico under James Pente's name. Now, if you go online, you will see that James Pente is telling everybody that he didn't own the vehicle, that Tammy owns the vehicle. This was what he posted everywhere. He said the police report was wrong because they based it off an ID card in the center console instead of running the VIN number. But mainstream media likes the other story better. All right, so look, as ridiculous as that sounds, because I'm in the insurance field, I said, look, let me give this guy the benefit of the doubt. He says they based it off of an ID card. And yes, a vehicle could be titled to someone and registered and insured to someone else. Let me give you a good example of it. All right, you're 17 years old. Any of you out there, you're 17 years old. And your mom or your dad say, we're going to buy you a car. We're going to buy you your first car, a used car. You know, but we're not going to give you the car yet. You know, you got to pay us off a little bit, or you got to do good in school. And if you graduate with good grades, the car is yours. So what happens? The title is under the parent's name, but the insurance and the registration could be under the son's name. I'll give you another example. I live in Howard Beach, home of the gangsters, and that's not Mustafa and New Jack. And what would happen over the years? Hey, how you doing, Anthony? I got this vehicle. I want to put it under my girlfriend's name so my wife doesn't find out about it, but I don't want her to own the fucking vehicle because if I break up with this broad, she could turn around and leave with the vehicle. So I want to put the title under my name, but I want to put the insurance under my girlfriend's name. So what happens? The title is under the asshole cheating on his wife, but the insurance and the registration is under the mistress's name. That's legal. Here's the problem with Tammy Sytch. Even if this guy is telling the truth, even if he's telling the truth here, she got no license. If she bought a vehicle and he puts the registration and the insurance under his name, she uses the vehicle. She's not supposed to be behind the wheel. She buys a vehicle, if you base it on him, whether she gifts it, gives it a gift, doesn't pay sales tax, gets sent to Florida. Whether it's gifted to him or the title is still under her name, she's not supposed to be driving. So let me give you another example. My credit sucks. My credit sucks. I want to get a Dodge Charger. I apply for Dodge credit. Mr. de Blasio, your credit sucks. No, we can't give you credit to buy the Dodge Charger. I go to my girlfriend. Honey, your credit's awesome. Could you apply for this Dodge Charger? And Dodge says, yeah, we'll write her. Yeah. And then she gives me the car to drive. You think Dodge is going to be fine? They have the agreement with her and I'm driving the car. They didn't want to deal with me in the first place. So Tammy is not supposed to have a car registered or insured in her name. She's not supposed to be driving. So what happens? She buys the vehicle in Jersey. If you base it on him, it gets sent to Florida. He puts the registration under his name. He puts the insurance under his name. I actually ran a report to see who the owner of the vehicle is. The owner, as far as Florida's computer goes, is James Pente. Not Tammy Sytch, James Pente. Now, you look at his tweet, and I run this report, and I'm like, hold on a minute. What this guy is saying and what I am pulling up is something totally different. So I put it online. Tammy Sytch bails herself out of jail about 12:30 this afternoon. A couple of hours later, I start getting ripped apart by Tammy Sytch on Twitter. You're a piece of shit. Your shows suck. You're a liar. That you're accusing my boyfriend of lying, blah, 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 blah. And me, stupid me, in the beginning, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? First of all, I'm trying to get facts here and answers. I never accused your boyfriend of lying. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. What are you talking about? Oh, you think your Law and Order and your podcast sucks and all this stuff, calling me a nerd and this other stuff. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So whatever she's throwing at me, I'm throwing back with answers. I'm like, look, I pulled this. You're telling me that you didn't buy the car or somebody didn't buy the car. She bought the car. She paid for the car. It was bought in New Jersey. And that vehicle was sold different auctions the 2-3 months before it. Here's another thing. That vehicle was bought. Check this out, everybody. That vehicle was bought February 15th. It was sent to Florida the second week in March. James Pente bought insurance, got it registered, and the title paperwork, as far as I could find, is him as well. Gets sent to DMV. 11 days later, the accident takes place. April 12th, he turns the plates in. That vehicle wasn't even on the road a month. Now, in the midst of all of this, you have everything going on with Pennsylvania and Jersey. She buys a vehicle, if you believe him. He titles, registers, insures it, and she gets into an accident. She's not supposed to be driving. Wait a minute. Did he put the vehicle under his name so she could drive it? That's not for me to decide, but that is called vicarious liability. That is the civil lawsuit filed against him. And if Geico doesn't want to be responsible, they don't want to pay lawyers and have to go to the court and everything like that. When you get served with papers from a car accident, you usually give it to your car insurance company and they fight it out. If Geico turns around, I guarantee you, James took this civil lawsuit and gave it to Geico. The insurance wasn't even a month old. And now they got this mega lawsuit. If Geico says, wait a minute, why is she driving the car? Look at all these DUIs. Mr. Pente, you're with her. You knew she had no license. Why did she use the car? Remember what I said 3 weeks ago? That he's in a really bad situation because if he tells the cops, no, I did not give her permission to drive that car, then you're accusing theft. Now, the problem is, does he do that? He could still turn around and you can't just say, oh, I was sleeping and she grabbed the keys and I had no idea. The fact is, she bought a vehicle. The vehicle was sent to Florida. It gets put into his name and she gets caught driving it. That doesn't seem a little fishy? That's up to the courts to decide. But anyway, Tammy Sytch on Twitter earlier is going after me, accusing me of lying, dirt, your podcast sucks, you're doing this for views. I'm like, I don't do this for views. I want the facts. Then I find out that's not Tammy Sytch on Twitter. Her boyfriend, who has access to her Twitter, was actually the one having a Twitter war with me earlier. Then it all made sense. Because you would think if Tammy Sytch was upset with me, maybe it would be because of the thumbnail that I posted. Maybe because I wrote in big letters and talked about this and, oh, you're using your show to profit off of my arrest and this and that. Nothing in that argument earlier had anything to do with her arrest. You go back and you read that Twitter war that I had, it was all about me accusing her boyfriend of lying about the vehicle. Then I realized, okay, her boyfriend was the one with her account. So what does he do? Soon as I talked to a couple of her friends and they said, yeah, that's him under her account. A lot of people out there who fought with what they thought was Tammy Sytch today, that was her boyfriend that you were fighting with. And, the most ridiculous part about it is because I went on social media and told everyone, I'm like, hey, everybody, check this out. That's not Tammy you're fighting with. That's her boyfriend. Well, why are you defending her? The fuck you talking about? I don't want people to profess their passion and fight with her and then don't realize they're talking to her fucking boyfriend. So even though I told her friends privately, even though I told a good female friend of his this morning, somebody reached out to me. You go on to Twitter and see it. Somebody reached out to me. One of his female friends said, hey, DT, James would like to talk to you. And I turned around and I posted a copy of the DM and I said, look, I don't think it's a good idea. I have nothing against the guy, but the information I got, if I was James, I would stay off of Twitter, get a lawyer, and, do not, I don't think it's a good idea that I start talking to him and get his side. It could come against him. And plus, I don't want to be dragged into this lawsuit. Mr. de Blasi, could you tell us about the conversations you had with Mr. Pente? I don't want to be involved with this shit. I want to give you the facts and move on. So I told the person this morning, look, I don't think it's a good idea that I talk to him. So he fucking flipped out as a result. So for all of you out there that have been fighting with Tammy Sytch today, that is her boyfriend that you are talking to. He ended up blocking me from her account. And she knows it. I'm sure she knows by now, and her friends know it. Again, I'm not here celebrating what happened. It is a tragedy. It is depressing, disappointing. I feel bad for her family, for her close friends. There's a lot of people who do care about her, and they're still very, very worried because they think, and I'll say it bluntly, that when you realize that you could have 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years hovering over your head, get arrested 9 times or whatever it is, and sooner or later somebody's going to lower the boom and you're going to be in jail for 10, 20, 30 years. What do you just go out of jail and just go on OnlyFans and have fun? No, you might want to do something tragic. And I don't think anybody here wants to find out that she took her life or she did this or did that. She should not be out of prison because after opportunity and after opportunity, all she had to do is not get behind the wheel. She shouldn't be drinking. But all she had to do was not get behind the wheel. And she killed someone. Now, the last couple of weeks, when she said that she had a seizure and this and that, for all we know, it could have been her boyfriend on the social media. We don't know. And that's not trying to, I'm just telling you the facts that I know of them. But this is what is going on. It is an absolute mess. I don't know what else to say about it. But I gave you exactly what I know about it. And look, unfortunately, some of the topics of discussion that we were going to have tonight are going to wait until next week. Like the Tony Khan force feeding honor on all of us. and the ratings are starting to reflect it for those segments on TV, that conversation will wait until next week. I mean, I did see that Chris wrote something earlier, and I will happy to answer his question anyway, but that topic we will save for sometime next week. But I wanted to give you what I know, and you take that information and you do whatever you want with it. One thing is for certain, number one, everything I told you today is the truth. I'm not accusing anybody of lying. I'm not accusing anybody of fraud. I am just telling you the facts, and I'm telling you what could happen. Do I think this Pente will be arrested because of this? No, I don't think so. That doesn't mean he will or he won't. In my opinion, I don't think he will. But the civil lawsuit is a very big problem, because if his insurance company bails out on this claim, he's got to go and hire a lawyer. And he has to, and if he just turns around and says, oh, I'll file bankruptcy. Yeah, you could do that, but this is going to be over his head for the rest of his life. So he's got a lot of issues. And her, obviously, but, I wanted to give you that information. Give me 1 second. It's extremely hot in here. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, look, I have the crash report in front of me. I have the lawsuit documents in front of me. I have the owner information. I have the dealer where the vehicle was bought. I have the dates that it was registered in Florida when the plates were turned in. I could even tell you the tow truck company where the vehicle is at right now. There's so many things here. But if you noticed, I didn't reveal any specifics online. And I'm not. I just wanted to give you the facts as I know them, so you have the complete story. Because again, a lot of places online, they're not interested in the information I have. They rather just ignore the story or just call Tammy a complete fuck up, rot in jail and move on. And, oh yeah, you told them. I wanted to actually give you the actual story behind it. So we go from here. So I will say one thing in closing. This has to do with the mugshot. This is the mugshot. I don't know what is going on here. The accident was over a month ago. If you want to compare this to wrestling, think back to when Bianca Belair at WrestleMania got the shiner in the match with Becky Lynch. She was bruised, her eye was closed, and a couple of weeks later, she was good to go. Anybody see something seriously wrong with this photo? Does it look like somebody got beat up? I don't know if I could zoom in a little bit further as far as the eye. And look, this is not to put sympathy. It's not to put sympathy, but I look at this mugshot and I see the bruise over here. I see the eyes. I see especially the left eye, her left eye. What the hell happened in the last week or two? That's what I want to know. After looking at this, I'm like, wait, something is up here. This isn't just somebody who was just arrested. She looks horrible. Just being honest. She looks absolutely horrible. But again, I saw that and I'm like, huh? What the fuck happened here? So, Benjamin, I do not believe that is from the accident. I do not believe it. Did she have a restraint on? Hold on. I have the crash report right here. I will tell you that the guy that died, he did have a seatbelt on. He was found with his seatbelt. She did have a seatbelt on. I'm looking at the information right here. Her airbag's deployed, and yes, you can get bruising from an airbag. But I'm looking at all the information right now, and she did have her seatbelt on. As I said, unfortunately, the person who died, he also had his seatbelt on. I'm looking to see if there's anything really, I could get into some real specifics, but one thing that I promised I would not do is get into any personal details. But, from looking on here, he was transported to Halifax Hospital for injuries, was later pronounced dead at 9:11 p.m. The accident happened at 8:20 p.m. He died about an hour later. That's something I guess I can reveal. I don't think anything too personal. A search warrant was completed to obtain blood from Tammy Sytch. I'm looking. Copy of the crime scene log. Photos of the accident site were taken. They did have three witnesses. Three witnesses saw the actual collision. The speed limit was 40 miles an hour. And again, this was at 8:40 at night, which is dusk. We've talked about dusk and it can blind you and everything like that. But obviously we know now dusk was not an issue. Don't know if she was text messaging or anything like that. I don't see anything here that would say that. But I'm looking at the description. I'm looking at the witnesses. And again, this was not somebody that was just slowing down and had a seizure. This is someone, unfortunately, who was intoxicated and hit someone at a high rate of speed. And if you remember 2 weeks ago, I showed you the video of an actual Mercedes, same type of vehicle, get into a crash. When they did the crash tests, I showed you what damage occurs at 10 miles an hour and what damage occurs at 25 miles an hour. The speed limit was 40. If she was slowing down and then had a seizure and then plowed into the car in front of her, she had to have been going less than 40 if she was going the speed limit. And you do not cause $10,000 to your vehicle, $10,000 to the vehicle in front of you, hit that whiplash so hard that that person dies from the accident, and the momentum causes damage to the vehicle in front. That's not from someone who's slowing down at a red light. In this day and age, some people buy Mercedes because they feel safe in the car. So believe me, if that was just a 40 mile an hour slowing down and having a seizure and then hitting the vehicle in front of you, Mercedes are built a lot stronger for that. So, interesting about that the vehicle, when it was bought, when it was insured, and how quick that vehicle unfortunately got, I don't want to say totaled. The value of the vehicle is about $20,000 to $25,000. You have over $10,000 in damage, it's probably going to be considered a total loss. Did they have collision? I don't know. So it is what it is. Yeah, there's no record of a seizure, to be honest with you. I mean, look, I don't have hospital documents. I'm not going that far with this. I got what I got to give you a good overview of everything that went down and information that no one else has given you. And, we go from here, So, all right, I think we spent enough time on it. Just a couple of quick comments. We'll move on to a few other topics because we do have other things to cover tonight. Ken terminated by DQ. He saw my comments on no DQ. Did Tammy only respond to me? If so, if I was just a pissant, she wouldn't have responded to me. Well, now you know it was her boyfriend that was actually responded to me. Look, he got pissed off at me because of the information I found out about the vehicle. Look, he's an asshole. I mean, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I even wrote in the DM, like, look, I have nothing against this guy, but I don't think it's a good idea we talk because of the information that I found. And I only said what the insurance company and how they can interpret. Believe me, there's no Geico rep that is going to watch this show and be like, hey, what Don Tony said is a great idea. Let's use vicarious liability and let's drop the claim. Believe me, if they're going to drop the claim, they're going to drop the claim. And the only reason why I even discussed that is because I am an insurance person. So, but thank you again, Tommy D. And Casey is raw. Nothing wrong with reporting the news to the public. I agree with you. But, again, my only concern is giving all of you the information out there. I have gotten a lot of information over the years, and I've offered it to wrestling news sites. And most of them just ignore me. the Daphne stuff hurt because when everybody was racing, trying to find phone numbers and addresses to try to get in touch with Daphne, I had 2 phone numbers and I had address because I was friends with her for 20 years. And I've talked about it before. I contacted 7 sites out there that are news people. I sent the Twitter DM to 7 sites and I said, look, you know, I know you don't like me too much, but I have a phone number here that is still good that, you know, maybe you can, and not one, actually only one person got back to me like, thank you, DT. Everybody else ignored me. To this day, it would have made a difference? No, wouldn't have made a difference. But here's a case where people are concerned that somebody might kill himself. And here you're offering them info. I didn't ask for credit for it, but even with that, just totally ignore what I'm sending. Not even like a thank you. You know, even remember the AEW Botches account, which I actually hear now that the guy is actually a pretty good guy. But when he claimed that somebody was doxing his family information, I filed the FBI report for him. And never once did he ever thank me for it. And because we talked about it, I said, look, if his family's really being doxxed, they take it very seriously online. But if he's lying, he could be in a hell of a lot of trouble. So I know he didn't ask for the help, but you would think, hey, man, thank you for looking out for me and my family. No, to this day, never once. Thank you. A lot of these people out there, they don't give a shit. Unless they can get credit for it or one of their buddies get credit for it, they will just ignore you or they won't even acknowledge that you exist. And that's all good. That's why I do it for you. I don't do it for them. So, all right. Let's move on from this. At the end of the show, you know, if you have any lingering questions, I'll be more than happy to answer it. I know a lot of you out there, the most important one was about why did she not get arrested on the spot for having no license? You know, I wanted to get that answer for you, and, you know, I did get you that answer. She did have the Jersey license on her, and cop looked at it, even if he knew or had his suspicions, or he's like, this isn't good. You know, unfortunately, by the book, there's a certain process that you have to do. I know it sucks, but that's just the way it goes. That's just the way it goes. All right. How do we segue from this to something else? I don't even know. Now, I will say this. Tomorrow is Backlash. And yesterday I did predictions. So when I go like this, if you want to check out my predictions, not only did we discuss match predictions, but we discussed what likely will transpire afterwards. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. What'll happen with Finn Balor, AJ Styles, the Judgment Day, joining up with Edge. We talked about the possibility of Bayley returning in the near future. So it was a really good discussion yesterday, in case you want to go check it out. Harris B is telling me that Mia Yim came back to Impact earlier tonight. That is cool. But I got to tell you, and you know what? I'm going to use what Chris Cutler sent in earlier. And I know this was more about the discussion that we're going to have next week about Tony Khan force-feeding Ring of Honor on us on mainstream television instead of YouTube. This is a promotion that is still dormant. It is in name only. You would think if you want to keep the name around and you want to build a little bit from it, then maybe you put it on your YouTube channels and your YouTube shows so everybody keeps the name around, but they're hogging up, eating up. I say eating up a lot of TV time so we could see the story. I'm not saying that Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal, that storyline is not good. I love seeing Sanjay Dutt back on TV. No question. But, you know, you're seeing Ring of Honor storylines and Ring of Honor title matches. You see Deonna Purrazzo and Mercedes Martinez. I love Mercedes Martinez. I love that she's got the belts. But it's still a dormant fucking promotion. There's nothing much going on with it. Throw that on YouTube, and once you do start having shows again and you tour on a regular basis and you want to have a full roster and you want things to still go down, that's when you bring it on network television. And the ratings are starting to reflect it, and I will use that to bring up something about Impact Wrestling tonight. Chris Cutler says he thinks Tony Khan overestimated AEW's fans' interest in Ring of Honor. AEW fans want AEW, not a lesser brand. Just put the brand on the shelf for a while until you properly could plan a restart. It's not that urgent. Exactly. It's not that urgent. The thing is, Tony Khan, his dream promotion is Ring of Honor meets ECW. He beloved Ring of Honor. He has wrestlers that prospered in Ring of Honor now working for him. Every time you see a match, look, I have nothing against Trent. When they announced Samoa Joe versus Trent, I'm like, this is the main event? And then he writes, this has been a personal dream match of mine. Samoa Joe versus Minoru Suzuki. What does Tony Khan say on social media? This has been a personal fantasy match of mine for years. Good. Jerk off and have them wrestle in your apartment. Stop hogging up and eating up all his TV time because you love this stuff and you own it and you this and you that, you this, because AEW fans, if AEW fans loved Ring of Honor as much as AEW, you would have had a better crowd for the AEW Ring of Honor WrestleMania weekend. Ring of Honor, in the final year or two that it was in existence, everybody talks about Madison Square Garden, Ring of Honor, New Japan, sold out Garden, sold out the Garden, sold out the Garden, Ring of Honor, New Japan. What the fuck happened with Ring of Honor after Madison Square Garden? Did you see 1,000 seats being sold in Texas, in Jersey, in Baltimore, in New York? No. Once it was WrestleMania weekend and that was come and gone, it went back to Ring of Honor selling 200 tickets. So just because you own it now doesn't suddenly mean, well, everybody worships me. Everybody thinks that I'm God, I'm boss, I'm their dad. So if I put Ring of Honor in front of them, they got to eat it. You like Ring of Honor? What are we, babies? That, hey, I don't like strained peas. Let's pretend Ring of Honor is strained peas. Let's pretend Ring of Honor is strained peas and AEW is pizza. And Tony Khan is like, hey, you know what? I know they don't like strained peas, but you know what? If I put it and say it's pizza, then they'll like it. Oh, look, it's pizza. Why is it green? Why is it slimy? Why does it look like my mucus? It's pizza. Just because Tony Khan puts it on TV, then suddenly it's popular. Look at Impact Wrestling tonight. I am so happy to see me back on television. I mean that. You've heard me say that many times. Did you hear that they didn't even sell 75 tickets for this pay-per-view? This is a 20-year anniversary. 20 years. They're bringing back nostalgia. 75 seats. Do you realize the Briscoes are in Impact Wrestling? W. Morrissey. We joked about it a couple of days ago. Some of these podcasts and news sites that cover Impact Wrestling all the time, they see Morrissey on AEW. Wow, he looks amazing. Have you fucking watched Impact? He's been on Impact the last couple of weeks. Why are they acting like they haven't seen him? So you look at the Briscoes, and they can't even get 110,000 viewers. The Briscoes. Just because you have this small, loud noise on social media doesn't mean that the masses feel that way. You just have this small nucleus of very passionate, loud wrestling fans, and I'm complimenting them. They obviously become, in some people's eyes, the norm until Ring of Honor does horrible attendance. Or the Briscoes, W. Morrissey, Deonna Purrazzo, all these other people are in Impact Wrestling, Jonah, and all this other, look, the Ring of Honor storyline, and they can't get 100,000 viewers. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? When I grew up, if my favorite wrestler happened to appear, on a different show on TV, I go and watch it. I go and watch it just to see that person perform. You mean to tell me the Briscoes can't generate an extra 50,000 AEW fans to watch Impact? Hey, I want to watch the Briscoes. Since Tony Khan can't bring them onto the network TV, I want to see them in Impact. Nope. So, yeah, this is why Tony Khan's got to get this thought out of his mind. That just because it's a dream match for him, it's a fantasy match for him, he loves it, and he feels that everybody should love it, doesn't mean that they do. And believe me, AEW, they're going to start creating a problem. We'll talk about it next week because I got ratings breakdowns that will back up everything that I said. But I felt so bad for Impact Wrestling tonight because under the circumstances, with some of this momentum, with the big names that you see, and they can't even get 100 tickets sold, the hell is that? That's awful. That's awful. That's awful. All right. So let's see what else. I know recently a lot of people were making a big deal about Eddie Kingston wearing a Junkyard Dog t-shirt. Well, it just so happened that Foco has a pre-sale right now for the new Junkyard Dog bobblehead. No, I do not get any money from Foco for promoting these. They send me bobbleheads to give away on shows for me to keep for myself, but they could sell 1 million of them. I don't make any money off of it. So when I put these here, I'm just showing it to you because you might find it cool. I think this one looks really, really cool. This is pre-sale now. So if you go on Foco's website, you can pre-order this Junkyard Dog. And pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. That's the back of it. They do a pretty good job with their Focos. So I figured in case you wanted to check it out. So, yeah, Junkyard Dog was awesome, man, when I was a kid. I mean, look, when he went to WWF, he was obviously way past his prime, but I still enjoyed it. I still remember Saturday night's main event. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name that he fought. Remember, it was Mother's Day. Remember the Mother's Day? And his mom was in the ring and she's dancing. She's got that blue outfit. And look, I'm trying to say this, lightheartedly. She had that big ass in that blue outfit with the beautiful hat and the flowers. And she's dancing with the Junkyard Dog like this. I loved it. Mother's Day. Remember Classy Freddie Blassie's mother on that episode? Hey, this is my mother. And she's like 21 years old. Well, maybe 30 years old. We don't want to make him look like a perv here, but Dream says that he fought. Who is he? So, yes, Dragon, Jade Cargill will absolutely, if she stays the course, she will be an even bigger name in wrestling. She is a big prospect right now, but she is improving. Give credit for Bryan Danielson also because he has helped Jade Cargill along the way. She's committed. And she has the bug enjoying wrestling. Jade Cargill, barring serious injury or complete fuck up, which I don't see happening, Jade Cargill is going to be one of those big stars of tomorrow. Let's not get too far ahead. Right now, she is a very promising prospect. But she is definitely improved. Jade Cargill definitely is a name that absolutely will be a big star if she keeps going at it. Oh, it wasn't Rene Goulet. I can't remember the guy's name. The Duke of Dorchester. That's what was his name? Someone in the chat room. If any of you out there never saw the Saturday night's main event episode with the Junkyard Dog and Mother's Day, when he brought his mother in the ring, he fought the Duke of Dorchester, I believe. And this guy yelling, and he's missing his teeth, and he grabbed his hair. And the funny thing is, if you look at the Junkyard Dog in this match, you would swear that he's a heel. Pete Doherty, thank you. Pillar to Post, Kevin Milwaukee, John Hinosa, Tiger Uppercut, Nico, Chaos, props to all of it. Pete Doherty. You go back and you watch that match, just pay attention to Junkyard Dog. You would have thought he was constipated. You would have thought that he hadn't shit in 5 days. He was so angry that night. And I'm not exaggerating it here. Go back and watch that match. He was fucking pissed. After he started dancing with his mom, he started smiling a little bit. You watch that match. He was so pissed off that night. I don't know why. Extremely mad. I'm not. Go watch. Go watch. All right. What else we got to get into? Oh, okay. I promised all of you to give you the list. For our video friends out there, you're more than welcome to pause this and look at it later on. WWE announced a 30-event summer tour. And it's interesting when you look at stuff like this, and you know me, I don't like to compare AEW to WWE. But when you look at some wrestlers that are going to end up wrestling about 15 times a year for AEW, and you realize here that some wrestlers are going to wrestle 15 times in the summer, it just shows you the difference. Look, if I'm an AEW wrestler and I only wrestle 10 to 15 times for a year, if I'm getting paid good, that's, hey, I don't have to kill my body and I'm getting paid good and I don't have to wrestle a lot that much. But then on the flip side, it's like, oh, shit, a whole year went by and I hardly wrestled at all. I mean, it's kind of scary. You especially look at people like Andrade and others. I know he does a little bit for AAA, but Andrade, when you add up how many matches he has for an entire year for AEW, I don't know if I would want my career to only be 10, 15 matches for a year. But if you haven't figured it out already, Saturday night's main event, these are not TV tapings for future Saturday night's main event shows. They are using that theme for WWE events that are happening on Saturday nights. So when you look at this list and you see Saturday night's main event, that's just the theme for the event. If you remember WWE Live or whatever, Super Show, that's just the title. June 24th, SmackDown will be in Austin, Texas. Saturday the 25th, Amarillo, Texas. And they will be in Abilene, Texas. They're doing a double shots in one day. They're also doing a double shot. The Sunday Stunners, Hidalgo, Texas, and Odessa, Texas. June 27th in Laredo, Texas. July 1st for SmackDown in Phoenix. July 3rd in Tucson, Arizona. San Diego, California gets the July 4th Monday Night Raw. SmackDown in Fort Worth that week. They come into Boise City, Louisiana, Sacramento, Reno, Nevada, Waco, Texas, San Antonio, Orlando, Florida, and they are coming to Madison Square Garden July 25th for Raw. And I heard that Ronda Rousey is going to be involved in a dark match. I don't think they'll do the draft in time, but Ronda Rousey is supposed to be in a dark match for that night at the Garden. Ronda Rousey wants to perform in the Garden. So if anybody out there wants the complete list and is accessing only audio only, email me, dontony@dontony.com. I'll be more than happy to give you like a text file or a PDF. Yeah, Bridgeport's not that far. I tell you, I'm surprised how close parts of Connecticut is from me. When I go to Mohegan Sun from over here, we pass WWE. WWE is only about 30 minutes from my house. That's all it is. It might even be a little bit less. And I tell you, I can't tell you how many times we wanted to stop. And I emailed WWE twice in the last couple of years. I'm like, you do tours anymore? And I would love to go see a tour. I mean, that would be on my bucket list to tour WWE's offices. Maybe I get lucky and I finally get to shake Vince McMahon's hand once. Thank you for all these decades of, making me a wrestling fan. So speaking of wrestling fans, No DQ is one of those websites that actually do show me a little bit of respect once in a while. And a few of you had directed me to an article they put up, and it is 10 signs you're a bad wrestling fan. And I had a few of you asked me to talk about this, and I looked at the list, and I thought it was fun. I'll share it with you. And you determine, if all these signs mean that you're a bad wrestling fan. Some of them I totally disagree with. Some that I disagree with, some people might get mad at me. But reason number one, you are a shit poster. Let's take a look at this for a second. You have been gifted a life on this earth. And with the time that you have, you choose to make disparaging online comments towards a wrestling promotion you probably don't even like or watch. Even for a second, that is a complete waste of breath. Now, obviously, the author sounds like he might be in his early 20s. The English grammar is not so perfect. Sometimes you try too hard to make catchy statements and it comes off a little geeky, but we get it. 10 signs you're a bad wrestling fan. Reason number one, you shitpost. I totally agree with that. Number two, you created a troll social media account. And he uses WWE Gareth as an example. Believe it or not, Gareth, I actually followed him and he followed me long time ago, way before he ever was looked at as a troll account. Do I think he's a troll account? No, but I think he likes to troll people as well. So I don't condone the trolling, to be honest with you, because I'm old. But he says, look, if this is you, get some help. So, yeah, you create a social media account just to troll. Yeah, you're probably not a good wrestling fan. Reason number 3, you make sexist, transphobic, homophobic comments. I think that's common sense for all of us here. Even if you don't believe in gay marriage or, homosexuality, you respect others. Me, I have no problem with it. Let me make that clear. I don't want anybody to think, but, to make remarks, especially this day and age, even if it's not intended to be malicious, you just want to get under people's skin. To me, that is off grounds. I think that would be 10 signs you're an asshole if you do that. Not even a wrestling fan, bad wrestling fan. Reason number 4, you only watch or follow one promotion. I totally disagree with that. This person says, if you only listen to black metal, would you consider yourself an overall metal fan? I would argue otherwise. You wouldn't be a metal fan as you only would listen to one genre. No one should ever be forced to follow multiple wrestling promotions. If someone only follows black metal and they call themselves a metal fan, the person calling themselves a metal fan might be a little naive. That doesn't mean that they're not a fan of metal. Just because they don't like aspects of metal that you don't like. Me, I love music. I'm not required to love all aspects of rock or all aspects of this, so I disagree with that one. Reason number 5, you hate on wrestling journalists. To hate people just to hate them, I agree. I have said this 1,000 times before. If some of you out there do not like Dave Meltzer, why do you care what he says? Why do you care if Danhausen and Hook ends up being Angle of the Year? What do you care? Why? Because he's got a broad audience and some wrestlers like his stuff? Still, why do you care? I don't like Wade Keller. I don't like Bruce Mitchell. I don't like Brad Shepard. I don't like some others. I don't care what they say. If you notice, unless they say something really outrageous and I have a few comments to say about it, I just ignore them. So if you don't like certain wrestling journalists, just ignore them. And when you keep talking about it, I think there's almost a jealousy or there's an anger that you disagree with this person and you're frustrated that this person has such a large audience that listens to that person. That's how I look at it. Reason number 6, you think you know better. This person says you don't. I often see the AEW isn't growing argument thrown around. Remember, Vince McMahon was just a fan decades ago when he essentially bought his father's company. I hate to say it to this author. I think you're wrong. Vince McMahon was not just a fan at home and saying, hey, I liked it. I love wrestling. Let me buy it for my dad. No. Some people, we all think we know better. I think Finn Balor is being misused. Well, you think you know better. You know what? I think that Ricochet should not be wrestling a dark match like he did yesterday. You think you know better. You know what? Cody Rhodes, he's going to beat Seth Rollins. I don't like that Seth Rollins keeps losing. You think you know better. I don't like that Ring of Honor keeps being forced on TV when it's not even a promotion in existence right now. I think I know better. We all have opinions, everyone. We all have opinions. When you see someone out there say AEW is not growing, ignore it. If you bring it up, you're taking a statement that you know is not true, and you're using it to make yourself look better. People do that all the time. When someone said Eddie Guerrero was just a B-plus player, You know that's moronic and stupid. Why you even give that person credence? But you know what happened? Everybody online that commented about it, they only did that because they wanted acknowledgement that they're going to make a statement why Eddie Guerrero was so beloved and he's not a B-plus player. We all know that already. But people had to use that to give their reason why he's not so they could get 500 likes. Oh, my opinion matters. Reason number 7, you don't keep realistic expectations. WWE, entertainment focused. AEW, wrestling focused. A lot of people feel AEW doesn't do short-term storyline. Long-term storyline is what they do. Let's be honest, everyone. Hangman Page storyline was not 2.5 years because that's what AEW planned out. It was because of fucking COVID. You know, just because things take longer doesn't necessarily mean, oh, yeah, this is a storyline. Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 3, was a long storyline, long-term storytelling. All right. That was intentional. All right. In 2022, you know, you wouldn't burn through main events like you do on TV. And then you have others long-term story. Tell me why. Look at Hangman Page right now. A lot of people feel like he's almost non-existent on TV. You know, he has great matches with Bryan Danielson. He's going to have a banger with CM Punk. A lot of people feel, oh my God, he wrestled Adam Cole on Rampage. Couldn't even get 500,000 viewers or 600,000 viewers. Long-term storyline, did that help Hangman? Oh, look, he got the title. What a beautiful storyline. It took 2 years. And look at it is now. So, I love the 2 years. Maybe you should have struck while the iron was hot. Maybe Hangman Page should have been champion 1.5 years ago. So, again, it's all about opinion. All right, let's finish this up. Number 8, you hate what you don't understand. I don't know. I'm not liking this list all that much. And number 9, you think TV ratings matter more than they do. That I agree with, but the ratings should matter mostly for the networks, the advertisers, and the wrestling promotions. People out there use it as an excuse. When they bring up that the 5 on Fox scored higher than Dynamite, the fucking 5 airs at 5 o'clock at night. Dynamite doesn't. When they use shows that aired at 9:30 in the morning and using that as, what are these people talking about? But the worst part about it is, everyone, is no one calls those sites out because they know that it's not popular. So they go along with what everybody writes because it gets acknowledged. So people are guilty of that on both sides, including websites. And number 10, I think, is the dumbest one of them all. You don't support women's wrestling. I'm going to read you what this person said. I'm going to just say it. Equality in professional wrestling is pivotal to its modern day success. If you're one of those antiquated fans that yearns for the Attitude Era, that just wants to see scantily clad women parading around in a wrestling ring, leave. Please leave. The Attitude Era was extremely overrated, and in retrospect, not that great for the stigma of professional wrestling. All right, conversation over. This person obviously was not alive or may have been an embryo, at the time that the Attitude Era was around. Everywhere you looked, professional wrestling was the topic. Everywhere you looked in a store, professional wrestling was around. You went to school, suck it. I mean, why? Because it's deemed offensive now in 2022. Oh, please. And as far as women's wrestling, my view is simple. No one out there should be forced to have to like women's wrestling, or have to like women's MMA, or have to like men's wrestling, or have to like black wrestling or white wrestling. Yes, there's promotions with all of it. You could like what you want to like, but you have to respect others who like that as well. Look, I love women's wrestling. And I've said it before, I don't mind turning on my TV and most of what I see is women's wrestling. If they entertain me. And if the wrestling is strong, if the storylines are strong, if I have time invested into it, don't put Deonna Purrazzo versus Mercedes Martinez as a main event. So, everybody could be like, it was history. It was a unification match. You see, AEW is pushing women. No, you don't check off a box simply because you have women on TV. Just because you do a video package on Rampage that got 400,000 viewers. See, we care about women's wrestling. No, that audience is not emotionally invested. Ruby Soho. Explain to me, everybody, Ruby Soho, one win before Friday, one win on national TV, network TV, one win in 2022. On YouTube, 15. 15. Explain that to me. Explain to me. AEW gives her 15 wins on YouTube, but network, nationwide TV, she only has one. You don't see something up with that? So please, don't try to sell me with the women's wrestling stuff like that, because when you start dissecting stuff, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors on wrestling products. They pay attention. When the quarter-hour ratings sink for some people, you don't see them on TV like you used to. So these wrestling promotions try to check off blocks there, whether it's, hey, how come there's no black champions, or how come there's no women's here, or how come there's only one match here? You don't want people on TV simply to fill a quota. You want people on TV because they're kicking ass and getting opportunity. And if you do not like seeing women beat each other up, that is your right. That is your prerogative. For somebody to turn around and call you misogynist or whatever because you don't like women's wrestling, the people accusing you of that are ignorant, unless you turn around and you start disrespecting women's wrestling. If you don't like it, respect the people that do. Okay, so that is that. What else? We're almost done, everyone. We are almost done. Oh, shit. Fuck. I really wanted to open up with this, and I totally forgot. Best wishes go out to Big E. Be concerned. Seriously. I mean, I'm going to remain hopeful. Be concerned a little bit for Big E, because you know about the neck injury, the C1 and the C6. Big E yesterday wrote, and I quote, "For those desirous of an update, my C1 apparently is not healing optimally. I'll spend another 4 to 6 weeks in a brace in the hopes that I can avoid a fusion. But don't fret. I've got a tremendous support system, and what shall be, shall be." If you remember, right after Big E got injured, there was a couple of orthopedic surgeons that offered their views about C1 injuries and how it could be very, very, very serious as far as career ending, life-threatening as well. The fact, I don't remember the name of the doctor, but there was one that said that if the healing process doesn't go along smoothly, it could be career ending for Big E. Now, look, I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not trying to insinuate that his career is over or it could be over. But the fact that we are 2 months removed and he has to stay in a brace for another 4 to 6 weeks, that is concerning. So, we got to hope. And if you believe in prayer, say a prayer for Big E. We hope, look, I mean, obviously as wrestling fans, we want to see him back on TV. You don't ever want to see somebody's livelihood and what they beloved taken away from them. That's why with Bret Hart, I can't get mad at Bret Hart. When people say, oh, did you hear Bret Hart bitching lately about not being able to have a payday and seeing Goldberg make $3 million in Saudi Arabia? Yeah, if I was Bret Hart, I'd still be devastated that the love of my life, pro wrestling, was taken from me prematurely. And to see everybody else having fun and enjoying and not being able to do it yourself, I can't imagine how devastated he was and still is because of it. So, you don't ever want to see that happen to anyone. And I don't want to see it happen to Big E. I just want Big E to have a normal life, to have a normal, even if it ends up costing his career. Of course, we don't want to see that happen. But, that's got to be really, really emotionally tough to, after 2 months, to have that diagnosis. So we say our thoughts and prayers are with Big E. I think everybody will agree with me on that. SmackDown yesterday, I'm just going to read you the results because Backlash is tomorrow, and most of this was a lead-in to Backlash. Ricochet beat Mace in a dark match. Mace was managed by LA Knight. Shayna Baszler beat Sasha Banks. Gunther destroyed Drew Gulak. Beat the balls off of Drew Gulak. Ridge Holland and Sheamus over the New Day in a tables match. Sami Zayn over Shinsuke Nakamura. And a dark match after SmackDown ended. Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are wrestling tonight, I believe, in Hartford, Connecticut. They are working their ass off to try to make the Backlash match even better than the WrestleMania match. Yesterday for Rampage, Ruby Soho and Toni Storm beat Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Hook defeated JD Drake. We had an Owen Hart women's tournament qualifying match. Riho over Yuka Sakazaki. And the main event, Jay Lethal beat Konosuke Takeshita. And yes, if you take the A off of the last name of Takeshita, it actually does say take a shit. So, yes. Konosuke Takeshita. I know that they pronounce his first name a little different. Konosuke, I believe it is. I say Konosuke. So, trust me, a lot of people pronounce my name wrong, so I don't get offended by it. Now, here's something interesting. A lot of you have asked me already. The women's brackets for the Owen Hart tournament, the Memorial Tournament, Owen Hart Foundation Tournament, have been announced. And just like on the men's side, we have a joker. Now, on Thursday, I told you I believe the joker on the men's side could very well be Cesaro. Claudio Cesaro, which you knew him as Cesaro. I think Cesaro taking on Samoa Joe and Cesaro hitting Samoa Joe with the Cesaro swing would be a moment that we would absolutely go bananas for on AEW television. I know some of you come up with some great names as well. I'm not saying I'm going to be right, and a lot of you have asked me, DT, who do I think the Joker is going to be on the women's side? Now, for those on audio only, the brackets for the women's Owen Hart Memorial Tournament are, on the right side, we have Riho versus Ruby Soho and Red Velvet versus Hikaru Shida. On the left side, we have Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker versus a Joker. Okay. I'm going to tell you who I think the Joker is going to be. And then I am going to tell you who I think is going to win this tournament. I have come up with two names as the Joker. One, I don't know because I don't know how the fans would react. She wrestled recently for AEW. And, I don't think the fans were as receptive as AEW expected. I know this is a match that Britt Baker would absolutely love to have. So one of my ideas is Deonna Purrazzo. The problem is that Deonna Purrazzo is not a straight-up babyface. And I just feel Deonna Purrazzo, although a match that Britt Baker would love to have, I don't know if they would bring in Deonna Purrazzo. I think it's got to be a name that we haven't seen before. So the two names I come up with is Athena, who you knew as Ember Moon, or Mia Yim. One of those two. And I think if Mia Yim were to come in, I think they would definitely make note of her relationship, obviously, with Keith Lee. I think it would be pretty cool. And who knows, down the line, we may see Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Keith Lee and Mia Yim. So if I was a betting person, I would kind of lean towards Mia Yim. but we will see. We will see. Now, who do I think is going to win this tournament? Well, this is the results of the first round that I am coming up with. I believe Toni Storm will beat Jamie Hayter. I believe Dr. Britt Baker will defeat whoever the Joker will be. On the flip side, on the right side of the brackets, I believe Ruby Soho will beat Riho. And I believe Hikaru Shida will beat Red Velvet. So now we have the quarterfinals. I believe it would be Hikaru Shida will lose to Ruby Soho. I think Ruby Soho goes to the finals simply because of how, in some people's eyes, misused she has been in 2022. She came in with a house of fire, and it has not really been all that much lately. So I say Ruby Soho beats Hikaru Shida. I also believe that Dr. Britt Baker will beat Toni Storm. Britt Baker absolutely wants to face Toni Storm. In case you are not aware, she absolutely wants to face Toni Storm. I think Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho goes to the finals. I know some of you also think that Toni Storm versus Ruby Soho would be a great match for the finals, and that's not bad either, because Ruby Soho and Toni Storm were a tag team yesterday. So could that tag team end up facing each other in the finals? Could very well. But regardless, if it's Britt Baker or Toni Storm reaching the finals, my choice to win the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament, I am going with Ruby Soho to take it. Let me know in the comment section who you think will win the Owen Hart Women's Tournament. And, maybe we could turn this into a little contest. And maybe we could do that. So, look, you don't have to post anything tonight. I mean, you could post who you believe, but maybe we'll do a contest later this week. So, I'm going with Ruby Soho to take it. Some of you think Toni Storm. Look, the tournament is not bad. It's not bad. I mean, I know the qualifying matches were a little bit ridiculous. You know, nothing against some of the names that were trying to qualify for this tournament, but some of the names nobody even knows, like, why do they even get the privilege to possibly be in an Owen Hart tournament? You would want to use more recognizable names. So, all right. Are we done? Oh, you know what? Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr. Very quickly, this is going to be bigger than you think, everybody. Believe me, I talked to a few people behind the scenes. This is going to be bigger than you think. Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to launch, he's going to start his own wrestling company. He did a podcast earlier this week, and the teaser on his podcast, he said, pro wrestling has been a passion of mine since I was a kid. From watching with my grandmother to writing for WWE, now I want to make a different kind of impact in the industry by launching my own wrestling promotion and bringing it back to the basics. Now, bringing it back to the basics, yeah, if it's not broken, you don't fix it. But there's a couple of bullet points. Yes, this was part of what I actually printed for tonight. There's a couple of bullet points that Freddie Prinze wants for his wrestling promotion. Number one, he wants it to start within 18 months. Okay, that's 2024. And yes, from the people I talked to behind the scenes, what Freddie Prinze Jr. wants to do is not going to be just a regular local indie promotion. It's actually going to be bigger than you think. I think it may actually take off bigger than the hype for Control Your Narrative. I'm not kidding about that. He wants it to be a 2-hour show, not 3. 2-hour show is asking a lot. It's asking a lot. Now, once a week, not too bad. But if it's a 2-hour show, that means you're going to have a show every single week. What kind of buildings is he going to book? And not only that, it's very expensive to record and to air. Will it be live? Will they tape a bunch of shows and then air it on tape delay? I have no problem with that. But that was one of the things that I hated about Lucha Underground. I mean, sure, you read spoilers, but you don't see the actual matches going down. But I hated watching Lucha Underground and watching people win championships, and they already lost the titles. I mean, you would actually watch on TV, oh my God, Johnny Mundo won the champion. I'm just using an example. And then you realize he had already lost it. He's already gone from the promotion. I hate that shit. I like, give me current. Doesn't necessarily have to be live. Don't give me shit that was taped 2-3 months ago. So that's going to be a huge challenge for him. He has the money for a 3-year plan. Remember, Billy Corgan said he had a 20-year plan. That might be 25 years now with COVID hitting, and he did not capitalize. He, I think, sat on his hands a little too much, and NWA has been hurt tremendously as a result. 3-year plan, if it doesn't do well in 3 years, he's out. So this could end up being like an XWF type of situation, everybody. Storylines based in reality. Boy, I fucking hate that. Do you remember Impact Wrestling? Remember TNA Reaction? We give you the real side of professional wrestling. I mean, if you want to do realistic storylines, you hate your boss, you're trying to hit on somebody's girlfriend, and you end up getting the shit knocked out of you from the boyfriend, or whatever all right, that's kind of realistic. But if you're going to try to make it too realistic, I think that's where people make tremendous mistakes. So I don't know how I feel about that. Look, I have an open mind with anything, but how realistic, I don't know. But I'll tell you why I'm concerned about it. I'll get to the point in a second. Men and women given equal time. Again, what I said earlier, mistake. You don't want to put women on TV simply to fill a quota. If the women are kicking fucking ass in your promotion and the women are doing better than the men, you feature the women more. If the men are kicking ass and the women are just not bringing it, or, you see, this is the thing people need to understand. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, CSI, Girls Gone Wild. I know there's all those documentaries. There are some TV shows out there that are designed more for a male audience or a female audience. You look at Lifetime movies. They're usually designed more for a female audience. I think we all agree about that, those Lifetime movies. So you have to cater to your audience. Know your audience. If your audience is reacting more to men's wrestling, then you feature the men's wrestling more. If your audience reacts more to the women's wrestling, you feature women's wrestling more. If your audience is not into one side of it and you throw it on TV anyway, you don't know your audience and you're going to get people to turn off the TV. Period. So to make claims like this, I'm just giving an opinion here, but I think that's an absolutely asinine thing to say on his part right now, because number one, he doesn't know what talent's going to be available. If he brings in the talent, and I'm not saying a women's wrestling is going to suck, but if he brings in talent and on the women's side, they're not ready for prime time, oh shit, we got to put them on TV anyway. Go out there. You're just hurting your fucking promotion. Don't make demands that you don't know if you could keep. You don't know who's going to be out there at that time. He wants to own the space that it's filmed in. All right, warehouse, no problem with that. So you're not going to tour all that much. So even if you did something like Universal Studios or something like that, with that kind of concept, he's obviously got to go to an area that absolutely loves pro wrestling. I think it's got to be a warm area. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Florida. I know it's a little oversaturated, but if you go to a nice area where the weather is better and, people go out and have a good time, that could happen. No TV contract yet. and he wants it to be a SAG show. Now, that obviously, if you know about, Gabrielle Cartieres, and so a lot of people have felt, how come wrestlers are not part of that union or SAG? That's going to be really interesting, because then you're treating your wrestlers as actors and actresses. And yes, in professional wrestling, you really are an actor and an actress. You're playing a character on TV. It could be based in reality. But when you're in the ring, you're telling a story. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, they're actresses trying to tell a story that they despise each other and are going to beat the living crap out of each other on Sunday. When you see Kevin Owens and Ezekiel, they're actors. Ezekiel is playing a character that is trying to convince everyone that he is the brother of another character. And Kevin Owens thinks he's full of shit. So these are actors and actresses. But does SAG look at them that way? So if you're going to try to be a soap opera like on TV, but with wrestling, I don't know how receptive that's going to be. So, hey, it's a good concept. He's got a lot of money that he wants to put into this. And believe me, again, the people I've talked to, from what they have heard, and some of them have talked directly to Freddie Prinze Jr. He is dead serious about this working. He doesn't want it to be a 3-year and out. He's going into this with the idea that it would work. Look, would it be on the level of even an Impact Wrestling? No, not even close. And you see how small Impact Wrestling has become. But, if he owns the venue and he gets TV, he's going to put out a 2-hour product a week, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I wish him well. It's going to be interesting to see, because if it does catch on quick, what kind of contracts does he offer? Does he offer exclusive deals? Does he overpay for some people? Does he try to, romance some people away from AEW? Could happen. Again, this is bigger than you think that he's trying to do. So, all right. We are at an hour and 48 minutes. So for the last 10 minutes, I will be more than happy to hang out with all of you in the chat and answer some questions. All I ask is, number one, write in capital letters question before it so it stands out from the chat room. No super chats required. They're appreciated, but it's not required. I want to make that clear. I don't need money that bad. Some people get really jealous, when that comes in. Trust me, I got bills to pay, but I'm here for everybody. Also, shout out to Stoned Mexican Guy. Been loving the shows. Thank you for all the shows. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate that. So you love the shows. One thing I've always said, and this is not a dig on anybody else, but I will never leave all of you. If I'm physically or mentally unable to compete, doing podcasts, sitting on my fat ass, if something happens one day and I can't do it, then I can't do it. But one thing I won't do is quit on you. So, and that's not a shot towards anybody. I'm here for all of you. So, and keep the questions simple so we can just bang through a ton in 10 minutes. Zantastic went and watched the Hogan vs. Sheet 84 match to spot me and my buddy out. Did you see me? My friend Vinny with the Jerry curls, white guy, sweater, almost looked like a Charlie Brown sweater going like this. That is Vinny. He is on my shoulders. So fly, feels like a shot. No. Look, the reason why I said that is I don't want anybody to think that I'm taking a shot at Mish, because look, I have said for 25 years that all I give a shit about is you. All the Tammy stuff we talked about earlier, I'm not doing it for TMZ. I'm not doing it for views. I'm not doing it for hits. I'm not doing it for coverage. I'm doing it for all of you out there. And I always tell all of you that you take the time to enjoy my content, then I have to be respectful. I find it disrespectful when people clickbait you just to get you to tune in, or they'll over-exaggerate something just to get the views and the attention. I find that disrespectful for my viewers. That's me. Yes, I lose a lot of extra viewers because of it, but I feel that I owe it to you. So unfortunately, when I say that now, it comes off as, oh, that's a shot on other hosts. No, it's not. This is what I've always said to all of you out there for 25 years. So look, the stuff with Mish is over and done with. It's a shame it ended the way it did. He never wanted to hear it straight from my mouth, especially publicly. So everything could have been thrown out there. Now it's over. It's done. People are going to come to their own conclusion, and that's it. So at least you all know that I always wanted to have that, discussion, and it didn't happen. So now it's too late. Rojo Bear, what should be the main event at Forbidden Door? I don't even know yet, because we don't even know who's going to be champion at that time. Remember, AEW has their pay-per-views like 3 months apart. That's why, if you remember, one of the things that I said I would love to change in AEW is have a couple more pay-per-views during the year, because I think if they had pay-per-views every 2 months or month and a half or every 7 weeks, I think storylines would be even better on TV. When you have storylines, that some can't last 3 months, you get these super matches on TV, but it kind of hurts in the storyline department. So we got to get a little bit closer first. Then I can have a better idea with that. AJ Moore, no, Mish and I have not talked. Not ever since, I asked him, come on, let's have a discussion. All I know is he did hours of podcast having discussions about me and why he did this and what he thought that I was doing, instead of talking to me straight. And, it is what it is. Look, I will always say this. That man has done so much for me. That man has done so much for people out there that you'll never know about. I can honestly say, when I talk about Mick Foley and all the good deeds he does that press never cover, Mish does that for shows out there. As much of a dick that I feel Mish may have been for what he did, he has done so much for me over the years. I can't be mad at him. I can't be mad at him. It's disappointing, that I thought maybe friendship, we have that discussion, but it didn't happen. I have no ill will for the man at all. I want him to kill it. Seriously. He's a good man. He's a good man, but when I get, friends of his that'll throw shit in my face and say, oh, DT, when he needed time or he didn't feel well, you threw him under the bus and made him feel like shit. Motherfucker, I get cancer scares. I'm not saying he threw me under the bus, but we all go through stuff. I didn't intentionally try to throw him under the bus. I get a little bit, really passionate for the shows. It's disappointing, sometimes because sometimes, look, let me say this. I don't want to start controversy, but when he didn't appear that last episode here, a lot of people felt that he just started no-showing more often than not. And the reason why I got disappointed about it is because of a little something that people don't bring up, that are afraid to bring up. That what happened right before that? WrestleMania. The four of us did a show, night one. We had a banger. And on that show, we talked about, we'll do it again the second night. And I hyped it up, and I was looking forward to it. Loved the discussion. And then Mish says to me privately, look, Joe and I are going to do our own show. And my thought was, all right, you know what? Maybe, he wants his own views, audience. I get it. I mean, he works hard and he earns revenue too. So yeah, I was fine with it. And then he has Kevin on. So now you look back and like, okay, we had such an awesome show night one. The three of them did a show and didn't invite me for night two. So somebody was very much against me being on for night two. And I know who it is, and it wasn't Mish. That's fine. But at least say to me, DT, look, so-and-so can't stand your guts, and he doesn't want you on the show. That would have been fine. But when for everybody loved night one, and then, no, we're going to do night two without you. And then the following week, no, he doesn't show. You don't think, you don't feel like, hey, what's going on here? So there's a lot more to it. That's why if we would have talked one-on-one publicly, any questions would have been answered. Oh, DT's making decisions and making these moves and not telling me about it. Well, guess what? The decisions have to do with Saturday night's Don Tony show. It has nothing to do with Monday. Why do I need to tell it? See, all of this would have been discussed, but it didn't. So I hate that we got to bring it up again, but I wanted to mention the WrestleMania thing because nobody wants to talk about that. How come, they did their own thing night 2 without me? Because somebody did not want me there that hates my guts. And that's good. Look, of course people don't like me. I get it. It is. I mean, but what was really fucked up was the day that I had the test where they snipped more shit out of me to see if I had prostate cancer, that person went on our show on the chat room and was trying to troll me, saying some pretty horrible stuff. I could take it, but don't come to me and say I treat Mish like shit, and then you turn around and do even worse in my chat room. That's how I look at it, but I don't hold it personal. I mean, all those guys are good guys. I have no issues with any of them. But again, when people try to paint certain things, there's a lot more to the story than nobody knows. And you'll never know. And please, Twix, everyone else, do not throw Joey Numbers under the bus or Kevin or anybody else. They work hard. And you know what? All of those guys have been doing it almost as long as I have. And they give a shit about their audience. I can't say anything bad. I can't. There's no ill will. There's no issue. So please, hell, I'll give you a little tip. I even offered to Mish, I'll delete everybody's negative comments on YouTube. I thought it was unfair. I tried to defend it. You look on YouTube at that time, I answered back about 80% of the comments like, nah, that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. When it ended the way it did, I'm like, fuck it. I'm not going to spend time trying to defend. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go on and do my shows. That's it. Business as usual. It's the only way I could go. Dream, you could call him out if you want, but I'm not going to have the chat room turn toxic, spewing a lot of hate, and I'm not going to have comments like that. We're supposed to come here and have fun. Have a good time. Laugh. Not at people's expense. Not to enjoy ourselves because other people fuck up. We're supposed to have a good time. So save the drama for somewhere else. So, all right. Let's see. A couple more questions. All right. Since we got a little off topic here for 5 minutes, it's like WWE adding time onto a contract when somebody's injured. We'll go another 7 minutes. So, yes, save the drama for your mama. What other questions you guys want me to answer? Because tomorrow night, don't forget, Backlash will be going down. It's going to be a better show than you think. We'll probably get 1 or 2 matches on that we weren't expecting. I don't know if they announced any kickoff match yet, but I do expect a kickoff match to occur. Might be a women's match. I heard a couple of matches being tossed around, but I don't want to say it and be wrong. So, no, we're not taking calls tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's quick. Backlash recap in bed. Backlash recap in bed. I wanted to try to keep tonight a little bit shorter, but, the Tammy stuff was very complicated. And I wanted to be thorough and fair. This way, if anybody has any questions, you could go back and reference it here. And look, nothing I said tonight was disparaging or throwing anybody under the bus or revealing anything specific. I'm not going to do that. But everything I said tonight, I promise you, was accurate. Believe me. And, nobody wants to test me on that because I could start throwing out specific facts. And people know. People know. Kevin Milwaukee, when do I think my mother was most proud of me? Probably when I didn't, I went to grammar school. Michael Gonzalez, do I remember where I got the Dusty Rhodes shirt from yesterday? I think Etsy. If it's not Etsy, it might be something like Redbubble. this is what you do, because this is what I have done. Go on Google, do a Google image search, Google image search, type in Dusty Rhodes shirt. Look at the results that come up. That shirt will come up, and then you just click on the link. It's one of those sites like Redbubble or Etsy or something like that. That's where I have gotten a few shirts. I have some shirts from Stan Hansen and some others that I haven't even worn yet. But if any of you out there want to find some unique shirts, that's what you do. Google image search. Just type in the wrestler and the word shirt after, and you will see some amazing stuff. There is some awesome artists out there. I mean, the Undisputed Era shirt that I got, I thought was incredible. And that was from one of those sites. So, Dragon is asking, why do I think Cody was the guy they went hard for? What are you talking about, WWE? It's money, business, professionalism, experience. They've done business with him before. Cody has upped his game, committed, hardworking, passionate, truly cares, gives a shit. You see all the interaction Cody's having with the fans. That's not acting. That's not him trying to portray something that he's not. It's not part of a storyline. I just gave you probably 9 different reasons why they worked out a deal with Cody. Video fan, am I surprised WWE did not add time to Candice LeRae's contract? No. And I'll tell you why. It's nothing against Candice LeRae. Why would you add a couple of months' time, 6 months, back on her contract just to ultimately release her anyway? She obviously has got a newborn. I think WWE, I know some people feel it cold sometimes because their business, publicly traded company. Imagine WWE saying to Candice LeRae, oh, congratulations on your kid. Oh, by the way, we have to add some time on your contract. When are you coming back to work? You know what I mean? Like, it's a publicly traded company. Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, and everyone else, they're not going to investors meeting, hey, we lost a little bit of money on Candice LeRae by not putting money on her contract. So, hey, everybody chip in. Here's a hat. Hey, everybody. Yeah, everybody put $5,000 in the hat to cover what we lost. No. They didn't want to do that. They didn't want to introduce her back on TV just to take her back off TV after that short amount of time is up. They did the right thing. They did the right thing. And look, this is just opinion, but they did the right thing. Best video game, in my opinion, some of the current ones is 2K22. I hear nothing but amazing things. For me back then, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth was good. Hell, I even like the WCW, what was it, Versus the World was fun. Fire Pro Wrestling was awesome. There's so many games, they're all there. I love the graphics now, but I haven't played any of them because I know me. If I start playing, you'll see me miss episodes over here. Oh, my internet is not working, everybody. I can't do a show tonight, but meanwhile, I'm in the other room doing the game. And I'm not interested in gaming online yet. All right. Let's go 5 more minutes. Get out of here. Benjamin is asking, will Cody's red carpet treatment by WWE tempt others from AEW to jump to WWE? I don't know what you mean about red carpet treatment. Cody had a list of demands. WWE accepted them, most of them. So a wrestler is in AEW right now. If WWE wants to bring them in, WWE will make a financial offer. They hope that the wrestler will not refuse. If the wrestlers have a couple of specific demands, WWE will consider them. And hopefully they come to a negotiated agreement. You don't see too often that wrestlers make outrageous, unbelievable demands and WWE's like, oh, fuck off. These wrestlers aren't stupid. They know that there aren't many options out there. So I think because Cody is having such a good time, I think it does make it more appealing. The wrestling fans have to start realizing AEW, I saw a guy the other day that got 5,000 likes on Twitter, and all he said is, people need to start realizing AEW is a business just like WWE. I'm like, motherfucker, we've been saying it on this show for 2 years. Guy writes it in 30 characters and gets 5,000 likes. I mean, that's common sense. You know, wrestling fans have to start realizing they are. They are. You give it a little time. Oh, villain, of course they are, villain. This is one of my predictions from last year. I said before 2022 ends, AEW will absolutely have a trios title. In fact, I said about 2 weeks ago that the trios title, the qualifying matches or the tournament matches, will start after the Owen Hart tournament is over. So the Owen Hart tournament, this will last a few weeks. Look, I saw some news reports that, they're not going to do the trios tournament until Kenny Omega returns. The only way that makes sense is if Kenny Omega is going to be the first or 1/3 of the first ever trios champions. Because if they have no intention on putting a trios title on Kenny Omega to start off that group, then why wait? Kenny Omega hasn't even done a storyline yet where the Young Bucks would realign with him. Kenny Omega has not even gotten back into the picture to confront Adam Cole. So when you actually start thinking about it, people are guessing. People think, they're not going to bring the trios titles. They're not going to introduce it unless Kenny Omega is ready for a return. What does that mean? Unless he's going to be their first champion, that doesn't make sense. So they can have the division, they can have the tournament, award trios titles, and then Kenny Omega could come back, do a little storyline, reform, realign himself with the Young Bucks or whoever, and then they could feud with whoever's the champion. And look, if it ends up being the Blackpool Combat Club and not, the Undisputed Elite, Fish, O'Reilly, and Cole, then they could still feud and there's no title on the line. So look, they're not waiting because of Kenny Omega. They're waiting because the Owen Hart tournament is going on right now. Once the Owen Hart tournament comes to a conclusion, then you'll see the announcement. Then all the attention will be on there, and then you'll have your tournament. AEW is always doing tournaments. That's what you'll see happen. And believe me, you'll go back to this and you'll be like, hey, DT was right about it. I'm telling you. I really believe that. Thank you. Thank you. How would I save TNA Twix? They have to rebuild their identity. And it's very, very difficult right now. Right now, it feels they're just throwing shit on the wall and hoping that something sticks. You got to remember, a lot of people are burned out after WrestleMania, especially if people are burned out. You see ratings across the board are not anywhere near as good leading into Mania. Impact Wrestling doesn't really have an identity. Why watch Impact when you could watch this promotion or this promotion or this promotion? Every fucking promotion has their stuff streaming on Fight TV. So they have to rebuild their identity. NWA's got some serious problems too. And don't be so sure that TNA will survive everything. I'm surprised you haven't seen rumors of Tony Khan wanting to buy Impact Wrestling for the library more than anything. All right. Think we're going to bring this home? Yeah, I think we're going to bring this home. We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. I want to thank you all for spending your Saturday night with me. I will say this in closing, because I do know that Tammy's boyfriend, James Pente, would have watched some of what we said tonight. If he happened to watch the whole show and sees what I'm saying right now, let me say directly to you. Nothing personal, but I know for a fact your female friend showed you the DM this morning when you wanted to talk to me. Let's be honest, guy. I mean, I'm not born yesterday. You wanted to talk to me to see what information that I found out. I told your female friend that I didn't think it was a good idea because you are named in a very serious lawsuit where somebody died and you possibly gave somebody permission to use a car knowing they didn't have a license. I don't want to get involved with that. And I did tell your female friend that I had no intention on revealing any specific personal information. I was not going to reveal specific names, locations, numbers, bill of sales, license stuff, this here, claim information. I wasn't going to get it. And I even said that. I even told your female friend, I don't have anything against the guy. I don't know him. And you turned around and pretended to be Tammy and totally put down me, my podcast. I'm a piece of shit, a nerd, and everything else. So you, in my opinion, with all due respect, you're an asshole. I hope you get the proper counsel. I hope, whatever happens, is done to the extent of the law. I don't wish you any ill will, but just because I didn't want to tell you what I had, to turn around and do what you did today, that was a pussy move. That was a dick move. Maybe your intentions were good. Hell, if I loved and cared about someone, I probably would do some things that, might not be smart on my part. But the fact of the matter is that somebody you cared for kept going behind the wheel, kept drinking and driving, kept getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to clean themselves up, and they didn't. And that person ended up driving your vehicle. Doesn't matter who bought it and where, if it was gifted or not gifted. You went and bought insurance. You went to the DMV in Florida, or you paid the dealership to register it. You registered in your name. So when you posted that little screenshot earlier that, the police report was wrong, they were basing it on an insurance card. No, I don't think you realize that I've been in insurance business and I am licensed in Florida to sell insurance. So I have access to a lot of things that no one else does. And all I wanted was the truth. And because of that, some people think that I defend Tammy, which is asinine. I tell it like it is. And you turned into a total douchebag today. So, no, I didn't reveal anything because you turned into a douchebag. I just wish you well. There's an old saying, see ya, I don't want to be ya. I wouldn't want to be in your situation. I kind of have a little pity for you because I wouldn't want to be in that situation. I wouldn't want, and look, I've always said on this show, for me, no pussy is worth going to jail over. I've always said that. No pussy is worth getting myself in trouble for. I've seen too many people that I know personally who have almost ruined their lives because of a piece of ass, especially when we were younger. So, I don't want to be in your situation. But don't think that suddenly I'm going to be an absolute asshole because everybody else is. I think I was very respectful tonight. And to Tammy Sytch, I've always said this on these shows. I have met her many times, had some fun, with the XPW stuff, her doing USA Pro Wrestling. I gave her several $1,000s, for the Chris Candido stuff when he first passed. She was always nice to me, sent me Christmas cards back then. I've always said good things about her. I cannot defend what is going on. I do feel that addiction is an illness. I know people who have succumbed to alcoholism. Some people have lost their lives. Some people have lost their careers. Some people have lost their family. Some people have lost their kids because of alcohol. Some people have lost their jobs. So I do not believe you just drink and you're a dirtbag, low-life piece of shit that deserves to rot in jail. That's not how I look at it. Alcoholism is an illness, no question. I just don't understand, after all these opportunities, why you didn't get the help that you could have. There are a lot of people that know you personally that I have talked to for years. You know who they are. And most of them cry. Most of them cry. When you got arraigned that time, and I posted a screenshot for everybody that thought I was lying, your friend was crying in the chat room like, I can't believe why does she put herself in this situation? A lot of people are very, very concerned. And it gets to a point where, you've gotten so many opportunities, more opportunities that I would have gotten, more opportunities than 99.9% of everybody got here. And that guy that died could have been me, could have been my dad, could have been anybody tuning in or their family members. How would you like it if one of your family members died in a car accident today or tomorrow simply because someone else was on the road drinking who shouldn't have? Even if you would have had a seizure, even if you would have been blinded by the light. I know that sounds like a song, but the fact of the matter is you didn't have a driver's license for a reason. Not because Jersey were being nasty to you or because Pennsylvania or anyone else thinks that, oh, that's fucked up. No, you don't have a license because you're a danger behind the wheel. And unfortunately, it seems to have been proven. Now, you are innocent until proven guilty, but all the reports that seem to come in lead to another area. I will not trash Tammy Sytch. I will not defend her. I will just, as I did earlier, give you what I know and say it is sad. It is a tragedy. And, one thing is for certain, that guy that backed down last week or the week before, I will do better. It's a shame. You should have done better. It's terrible. It's terrible. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for the family involved. I feel bad for all your friends. I feel bad for a lot of people that were really hoping that things would turn around, and now it's gotten to this. I hope, something good ultimately comes out of all of this. I don't know what that is. So, all right, I am out of here. Zantastic says I would bury them in court. A lot of people have said over the years, DT, you should have been a lawyer. I don't know. I mean, I just talk from the heart, everybody. I'm not looking for, you think I'm going to get a DM from Tammy. It's going to be like, look, man, I appreciate what you said. I know you can't defend me and everything. No, I don't want any messages. I don't want any acknowledgement. I don't want any likes. I don't want any thank yous. I don't want any fuck yous. I don't want anything. I'm just trying to give my audience honesty and detail and accuracy. That's what I always do here. It is not the sexiest thing. Sure, we could have come up here and just call her a dirtbag, loser, rot in jail, you stupid motherfucker, and everything like that. We could have done that for an hour. And believe me, we probably would have had 5 times as many people going, yeah. I'm worried about my own life. And I'm sure everyone else out there tuning in is worried about their own lives out there. We don't celebrate tragedy. And, but we also will never understand how someone could get this many opportunities and just throw it away. Just throw it away. That's what's horrible about it. So, all right, I'm out of here. Everyone enjoy WrestleMania Backlash. Please post your comments about tonight's episode. Just all I ask is, be a little respectful. Just because, you don't justify bad behavior with other bad behavior. And just because someone else is an asshole doesn't mean that you need to be an asshole. And neither am I. So, we can express our disappointment and anger and frustration and pity, and be respectful about it. So, but yeah, she totally fucked her life up. And I just, life goes on. Hopefully some people will learn by this. Some people learn by this, but not good. Not good. Sami Calahan returned to Impact. That guy is needed on Impact. He is beloved by Impact fans. They blew the opportunity with him and Kenny Omega. They blew that opportunity. They tried to do the storyline online where everybody in Impact was behind Sami Calahan. Man, that backfired. That was horrendous. So, all right, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow night, right after Backlash. Tomorrow will be strictly Backlash comments. Hopefully, we'll get it done in about 30 to 45 minutes. I don't think it's going to be a tremendously controversial show. I still think Drew is going to pin Roman Reigns. I could be wrong. I think Cody and Seth are going to be a banger. I think Ronda Rousey and Charlotte are going to kick ass. I really think they are going to blow it out of the park tomorrow. They're going to knock it out of the park. It's going to be interesting, AJ Styles and Edge, if Finn Balor makes an appearance. Now, my Patreon family, the contest is already up. For my YouTube channel members, right now it is 10:25 p.m. here on a Saturday night. By midnight tonight, the thread will be posted, so you could post your entries for the contest. That's for all our YouTube channel members. And you'll have until about 2 p.m. Sunday to post your predictions. Contest takes a minute. And we don't have many channel members here, so the contest is very, very small. But all right, everyone, be well, take care, all the best, and you'll have a good night. And hit that like button if you enjoyed the show.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.